This episode of The Gaming Outsider is brought to you by eWin Racing, the home of the best heavy-duty gaming chairs. I can tell you from personal experience that I've never sat in a more comfortable chair at my desk. eWin Racing has chairs for gamers of all sizes, too. As a Gaming Outsider listener, you can get 20% off your purchase using our promo code TGO at ewinracing.com. eWin Racing, the best gaming chairs out there.
This is natural-sounding voice actor Roger Craig Smith, and you're listening to Scott Clark and the Gaming Outsider!
That sounds normal, right? That's kind of how I talk, actually.
Welcome to another episode of the GoCast. This week, it's just CB and I, and we're sharing our least favorite entries and our favorite franchises of video games. In news, there's apparently a new handheld console on the horizon, but is it from who we think it is? And of course, you'll hear both our impressions of Tears of the Kingdom, plus Rel stops by to tell us about a game he checked out called Cassette Beasts. You'll want to check it out, especially if you're a fan of Pokemon games. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. It is Sunday, May 14th, Mother's Day. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me is my good friend, Mr. Chris Behrensmeyer. What's up, man?
Scott's determined to make me get divorced today.
Hey. No. Yes, we are recording on Mother's Day, but we're doing it early in the morning, so if CB sounds a little dead today, it's because he just got done with a 24-hour shift on the ambulance, and then he sat down and recorded a podcast with me.
I'm going to tase you.
Are you?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Zach and Alyssa were not available today. I believe Zach is working. We're doing some OT, and Alyssa's at a family reunion. So it's just going to be CB and I today. Has this ever happened, man? Outside, we've done Patreon together.
Yeah, I think we've done like one episode, just you and me.
Did we? I remember that one Patreon episode we did, we kind of cozied up in your little recording booth in your old house.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting right next to each other on one microphone. That was fun. So I'm excited, though, to talk to you, man. It is Happy Zelda Week. Zelda release week is finally upon us. Tears of the Kingdom is here. We're going to talk about that later for sure, but we should tell everybody about our midnight launch experience. First off, I didn't even know midnight launches were still a thing.
They do still happen.
We need to do that more often because, man, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
It was. I had fun.
The only reason I went was because I wanted to get the collector's edition. If you remember, I pre-ordered 2 copies of the collector's edition of Tears of the Kingdom, one for me and one for Nate from our group. And unfortunately, they only allow you to do one pre-order, because they just assume people are scalpers. So they canceled one. I wasn't going to be that guy that said, well, Nate, you're out of luck. So I was on the hunt for another one of myself. And lo and behold, I found out that GameStop was doing it the night before. And I said, this is my chance to try to get one. So we showed up. What time was it? About
10.
8:30? Well, we got there earlier, though.
Yeah, we got there. Yeah, it was about 8.
8:30, and I was the second person in line. There was a woman there in line in front of us. Her name was Lisa. She was super nice. She was there all the way from, where was it? It was like 45 minutes away that she drove.
Davis.
And Davis, Illinois. I know people that aren't from Illinois have no idea what we're talking about, but she had driven all the way from there to get a copy for her brother, who was currently in China. He wanted a collector's edition, so I just thought that was really sweet. She wasn't even getting it for herself. She was just doing it for her brother. And met a whole bunch of cool people. Met a guy by the name of Damon, who was super nice as well. And I got to give a shout out to Damon because Damon did the most incredibly nice gesture for me. And I've got to figure out a way to repay him for what he's done for me. But this was really cool because Nintendo does a lot of their Zelda stuff on their My Nintendo the website where you earn platinum points for clicking on the website or, purchasing games and whatnot. And they've got a Zelda keychain. And I was like, man, I really want one of those Zelda keychains, but I don't have enough platinum points. All of a sudden, Damon, perfect stranger, never met this guy before in my life, hands me his phone and says, here, I just ordered one, put in your address, I'll have it shipped to you. I was just kind of blown away by the sheer act of kindness. That was just very, very cool. So,
I mean, there are good people still in the world.
Yeah. He's a fellow Zelda collector, so we're going to have to get together with him. He is in town We're gonna have
Yeah.
to get together and compare collections and hang out and do some gaming together. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart, Damon. You have no idea how much it made my night that you did that for me.
Yeah. Then you got lucky because another person gave you something too.
I know. I was just gonna get to that. So at GameStop, they've got a pre-order bonus for Tears of the Kingdom, which is like this wooden plaque. It's like a wood burned with a new logo on it or whatever. And we walk out of the store, and Chris is like, "Hey, look, I got one." The store owner just, or the manager just gave me one. He's a buddy of mine. And I was like, "You got to be kidding me!"
Yep.
Because you could only get it if you pre-ordered it. You did not pre-order it.
No, I did not.
And he gave you one, and I was like, "You got to be kidding! Like, what do I got to do to get one of these?"
Yeah. Well, hang on. I will tell this because then you have the mopey zoo lion that is Scott just sitting there like, "Oh, I don't have one. Look, I'm so sad." Meanwhile, this, I'd say what, like 15, 16-year-old walks.
He was young. He was young.
Between the ages of 12 and 16, walks out and sees.
He was driving. He was definitely of driving age.
But no, he didn't, because he got in the car with somebody else who drove him.
Oh, he said he was He said he had a driver's license. So anyway.
So kid walks out of the store seeing the sad sack that is Scott Clark, and me just sitting there waving this piece of wood in front of Scott's face, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. I got one of those too, but you know what? I don't want it," and just hands it to Scott.
Yeah, just another perfect stranger that, and this is the same kid that was in the store. He brought his Switch and was like challenging everyone in line to rounds of Smash Brothers, and like I think Jacob actually played against him.
Oh yeah, he did.
Held his own, but he lost. It's just very cool. Like 2 random acts of kindness from perfect strangers in one night. I just was kind of blown away. I feel bad I didn't get that kid's name because I was kind of just in the moment, just overwhelmed with kindness, and I didn't even think to get his name. So wherever you are, sir, thank you so much. I'm so excited. My only 2 things left, CB, is actually 3, I guess, if you want to be technical. There was a pre-order bonus for Best Buy that had like this art thing.
The art lithograph.
Lithograph. I got one of those for Nate because his pre-order from Best Buy. You
gotta get that Walmart scroll.
The Walmart one's going to be tough, though. There's 2 different scrolls, one black one gold one. Gold one, there's only 5,000 of them made. So I imagine that would cost me probably about $200 or $300 if I were to go try to eBay that one. But
probably. So, but here's my thing, Scott.
Yeah.
If you want to keep doing these midnight releases, you know what you have to do.
What do I have to do?
Buy physical.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
For Breath of the Wild, for Tears of the Kingdom, I'm perfectly okay doing that because I want them for my collection. But yeah, you're right. I would have to kind of do some physical releases.
It's people like you, Scott, on why we can't do nice things like these anymore.
Shut up.
It's all your fault, man.
So anyway, Lisa, it was a pleasure to meet you. Damon, it was a pleasure to meet you. An unnamed younger man who gifted me this wooden plaque. It was awesome to meet you. We met a bunch of other cool people too. It was just, what was the guy? He was like a professional wrestler, Tyler. I was confused. I thought he said his name was John. So, but we were just having a good time, just laughing and joking in line. I've missed midnight releases, man.
A random Jacob Gunderson appeared out of nowhere and brought me Mountain Dew.
Yeah, and cinnamon twists. I don't know, just joking and laughing was just a ton of fun. One of my favorite moments was we're standing with Jacob, and CB just keeps grabbing things off the shelf and handing it to Jacob as if like, here, look at this. And it'd just be something that Jacob would clearly not have any interest in. But like, he's got like 3 or 4 items in his hands, and
I handed him like the steering wheel at one point in time. I'm like, here, and he's like, what? Why am I holding all this? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So we got to do that more often. I just love going to places and like everybody in that place is there for the same reason. You're amongst friends, even though they're perfect strangers. There's just something magical about that whole thing. Maybe we should do a topic on our best memories of midnight releases, or that would be pretty cool. But anyway, Moving on, want to remind everybody once again that R2V2 is coming. The October 14th, 2023. Sissy Jones is coming. John St. John, the voice of Duke Nukem, is coming. Somebody's getting married by John St. John, so that's going to be awesome. Mark your calendars. We will have more details to follow, but we are fervently trying to put that together. It's a lot of work, guys.
Stuff
a lot of work to put that
Lots of
together.
things.
But let's go ahead and talk about the games we've been catching up on. CB, you beat Jedi Survivor?
Yep, I did.
Yeah. I think I mentioned it last week. I've been so torn on that game because you guys have like a love-hate relationship with it, I feel. But how do you feel now that you finished it?
Yeah, Zach hit the nail on the head. This had to be written by like a 12-year-old girl.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I made the mistake of diving in this week. Because it was just a stupid decision because Breath of the Wild came out on Friday, but I wanted to at least get a little bit under my belt. And that opening area before you get to Kobold, that was some pretty cool storytelling. I gotta say, I was like, That's a great way to set up the game.
Yeah. Throughout the rest of the game, there are a few more moments that really piss me off as a fan of like the canon.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of things that I'm like, no, that's not right. There's just because as soon as I finished the game, I texted Zach and I'm like, really, like, why? Just the way the game ends. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a third one.
Mm-hmm.
But we're both, I think, for the most part, Zach and I are both on the same page on what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be an interesting route if they choose to go that way.
I think you guys need to do a spoiler cast because we've had to dance around it for 3 weeks now. It would be kind of
There's just some of the boss fights upset me some.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like because of the gameplay or because of story beats?
Story beats.
Interesting.
So
did you play it on normal or hard? You played on normal? I started on normal and because I played Fallen Order. That's what it was. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah. I played that one on easy because I'm terrible at Souls combat. You and Zach have the advantage of recently. Number one, Zach has an advantage because he's been a Souls guy for forever. You both have an advantage because you both platinumed, or in your case, all achievement points, Elden Ring. So this is just like no big deal for you guys. Oh, you got me excited when you first talked about how easy it was. I was like, all right, great. I don't have to play this on easy. Dude, I suck at this game so much. I got to that the first major boss, like the ninth sister on Coruscant. It took me like 4 tries to beat that first boss. I don't know what my deal is. I cannot get the timing for this type of game down at all for some reason. I don't know
how much I parried in this game?
No.
Not much at all.
No? I thought that's what you had to do because I didn't even realize you could
have to.
I didn't even realize parry was a thing. I missed that training or that, guide for some reason when I started it, and it's like, I gotta try this, and that was how I was able to do it. So
there's a couple bosses like you will have to learn to parry, but it's not that hard to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
But for me, like once I got my dual blades, it's just all out attack all the time.
Yeah. Nice. It does feel good. That especially the platforming. I'm not even on Kobold yet. I mean, I'm on Kobold, but I haven't started playing on Kobold. Just the platforming and the running on the walls and
hands down, the gameplay and the visuals are superior to the first game.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's just the story is not great.
All right. Well, stay tuned for more. I'd love to hear your guys' discussion on that. Maybe I'll just listen to it and not even play the game. I don't know. I kind of want to
the game.
Dude, I got Zelda now, man. I am kind of locked in for a while, but we'll get to that. I got to also talk about Soul Survivors, which I started playing last week. If you remember, it's a Vampire Survivors clone. I've maxed out one character and I still can't beat the boss. I've hit a wall where there's nothing I can do unless there's just something about the game I'm not understanding or not doing correctly. I cannot. Each level has like 3 bosses. It's got a first boss, a mid boss, and then a final boss. And the final boss just has so much health and takes forever and ever and ever. And when you're in a boss, you can't do much to increase. You know how like in Vampire Survivors you get those gems?
Yeah.
But in the boss area, there's so few ads that make their way into the arena when you're fighting this boss that you can't really get enough, because as you go, it takes so many souls to increase, and there's nothing I can do to increase my stats, so it just becomes a grind, to kind of slowly just tick away this boss's health. And I just have not been able to do it. So that's a bummer, because in Vampire Survivors, it feels like as long as you put in the time, you'll eventually overcome. And I've hit the peak. I can't increase the stats of, when you spend your gold to increase your character's permanent stats. I don't have any more permanent stats to increase. So I've maxed all that out and I still can't do it. So I don't know. I feel like my drive to continue with that one is waning. And it just kind of makes me want to go back to Vampire Survivors, which isn't a really great mark on the game. I still think it's a good game, but I think if you like this style of game, Vampire Survivors is where it's at, in terms of price point and in terms of, just how much they keep adding to that game. Granted, they're adding to Soul Survivors, but it's just well made, just not my favorite. So
fair enough.
There you have it. Let's go ahead and jump into the week's news, though. I can only find one trailer of worth noting this week, and that was a game called Mr. Run and Jump. It's coming to consoles and PC this summer. It looks like a neon-infused Super Meat Boy, in my opinion, and I love me some Super Meat Boy. I don't know. Well, we'll get to that one in a minute. Also, tech company Sharp is supplying LCD screens for a, quote, new gaming console. Thought that was pretty interesting. Somebody already beat Tears of the Kingdom in 94 minutes. I have a feeling that'll come up. There's also 4 new games that were entered into the Video Game Hall of Fame this week. And lastly, Grand Theft Auto 6 looks to be the most expensive video game of all time in terms of development costs and marketing and all that. CB, what story piques your interest the most here?
Well, let's talk about some Video Game Hall of Fame here for a second.
Okay.
So, four new titles were inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
They are as follows: Wii Sports, understandable.
Sure. Yeah.
The Last of Us. Yes, I can agree with this.
Culturally significant, especially with the HBO series recently.
Yep. Barbie fashion designer. What?
That one, I did some.
Hell are they thinking? No.
No. Hear me out. Hear me out.
No.
The reason that this is on here is because it was one of the first games created that was marketed for girls that actually sold. Because back in the 80s, or was this 90s?
This would have been 90s.
90s. The video games were for boys. And nobody was willing to, develop a game just for girls. I mean, not that this is just for
wrong.
girls. It was one of the first successful ones.
Because it was Barbie on NES.
Right, but was that a success? This sold something like 500,000 copies, and it was considered one of the first commercial successes in terms of games marketed towards girls.
Okay. Oh, wow, this is going to make me sound like a dick. All because it's a game marketed for girls.
Uh-huh.
Does not necessarily mean it deserves a spot in the Hall of Fame over the 2 games that did not make it.
Okay.
First off, number 4 was Computer Space.
Mm-hmm.
Old game, sure.
Well, isn't it the first commercialized video game?
Yes.
Like it's the first one where they said, "Oh, this isn't something just for people on their PCs. This is something we can sell and make money."
Yep.
So
that understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the 2 games that Barbie fashion designer beat out were Angry Birds
mm-hmm.
one of the most wildly popular selling mobile and platform games of all time.
Right?
And the clear winner, FIFA International Soccer.
Yeah.
How that did not get in blows my mind.
Well, just because they didn't make it this year doesn't mean they couldn't make it next year, correct?
They should not have been punted for Barbie fashion designer.
I agree with you in terms of success and cultural significance, but we live in the world that we live in 2023. If these awards were given out, 10 years ago, this would have been a lot different.
No. Okay. First off, I know plenty of people of the female persuasion that play FIFA games.
Right.
Soccer or football is for everyone.
I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying that I understand why
a game that
Barbie
sold 500,000 copies versus a franchise that sells well over 1 million every time there's a new entry.
Dude, I'm not saying that it shouldn't have been one of those two. I'm just saying I understand from a culturally significant standpoint and because of the culture that we live in now why it was done. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm saying I understand why they made that decision.
But here's the problem with the Video Game Hall of Fame. It's going to start pissing me off, just like baseball Hall of Fame ballots. Like, oh, we're going to choose this guy over this guy. Why? Like, I feel that there needs to be some legitimate justification for any Hall of Fame. Baseball, football, because like, one of my favorite players, Ron Santo, like for baseball, the guy didn't get inducted until after he died, and he had the stats for years. So it
comes down to why things are selected. Is it cultural significance? Is it stats? Is it in the case of video game stats would be sales numbers, maybe Metacritic review scores. Like what is the criteria to get inducted in here, and who's making those decisions?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
That's the problem. Is I don't know what their criteria is. All because it's the first successful marketed game towards girls. Like, really? We probably could have chosen a better metric.
Well, especially if you want to go back to my statement about the world we live in.
I know.
Why no, but why that game? Like you said, FIFA isn't just for guys. Angry Birds isn't just for guys. Games in general are not just for guys. That seems to go against that whole thought process of all of these games should be for everybody.
Yeah, to me, it's a poor choice. So, especially over what could have made it. Moving off my soapbox.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about this LCD screen being provided by Sharp for a new gaming console. This was reported by Bloomberg, and no company was named or any details on what that console is. If it's an LCD screen, it sounds obviously like it's going to be some kind of handheld device. The obvious speculation is that it could be the next Switch from Nintendo, but that's not even a rumor at this point. That is just no information. That's just what everybody kind of assumes.
Well, I mean, Nintendo's even gone on record saying, don't expect it.
Right. It would make sense, though. The Switch sales have fallen considerably, which falling... who doesn't have a Switch at this point?
Okay, hang on. That's where I was about to go with this. They're like, oh, Switch sales have fallen, a lot. Yeah, that's because everybody owns one.
Or two. You know what I mean? It's just kind of nuts.
Yeah.
And Sharp did partner with Nintendo in the past to boost production of the Switch due to demand for that console. So, there has been that partnership. So it kind of feels that way. But again, there's so many handheld devices, even on the PC side. What's that PC one? Is it the Ally from Asus or Asus?
Asus Ally.
And I saw another one that I saw on Twitter yesterday. we're getting to where the handheld market is becoming a thing again because people are realizing with the success of the sales of the Switch that people like to take their stuff on the go and like to have the versatility of playing on their TV and taking it on the go. But then you also have people that refuse to purchase the Switch because the specs aren't anywhere near the current console specs or PC specs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. First off, we know it's not Sony.
I would assume, but hey,
so Sony makes their own in-house, so it's not Sony.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's not Sony.
Mhm.
It's not Microsoft, because Microsoft just prefers to use phones for their mobile.
Phones, tablets, whatever. You can. That's kind of their whole MO is you can play anywhere. Although, man, E3 season isn't far from us. I know E3 isn't even a thing anymore, but
Phil Spencer and there's like one other executive has said they have no interest in making a handheld.
Yeah, and Phil Spencer also said that Redfall would be 40 frames per second straight up, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
I don't trust what anybody says anymore, man.
I'm with Microsoft's integration with every other handheld device.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them getting into the handheld market right now. It's a terrible idea for them. Honestly, I could see something more like Sharp making small screens for more Nintendo Game & Watches.
Okay.
Like it sounds
we were
dumb.
talking about the Metroid one. We were talking about what other ones could they do?
Metroid, like that's the thing. This could be anything, but to me, it's going to be not a big budget handheld.
Okay. I mean, everyone complains about how graphically powerful the Switch is not. You know, is it time for them to catch up and do?
Why?
I mean, I don't care.
Their numbers are still incredible.
I know, but they want to sell more. If they can make them, people will buy them. If Nintendo puts out something, remember back in like the 90s when they would just do a different color Game Boy and everyone bought it up? I mean,
yeah, but
Nintendo,
whoever they're partnering with, like they keep doing new versions of the Switch OLED.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to ride that one for at least another 3 years.
Right.
Everybody keeps thinking, oh, the Switch 2, the Switch Pro. And I'm like, why? They have no need to make it. None.
Well, they don't have a need, but they like money, and they like having more money than they need.
Here's the thing. They're making plenty of money right now, because I cannot wait to see the sales numbers for Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh my goodness.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, Nintendo doesn't need a new console because they're still selling like gangbusters for like any major release they put out. If Nintendo was smart, they would just be like, and another Mario game, and another Metroid game. That's all they need to do. Nintendo has not needed to focus on hardware.
I agree.
Nintendo's software is where they make all their money.
They don't have to, but that doesn't mean they won't.
It doesn't mean they won't, but at this point in time, I see if they're partnering with them, it's going to be for something like a couple of years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
If this is something more recent, I see something like another round of Game & Watches, or some other streaming like Steam Deck style thing.
That's what I was thinking. Is like if it could be something completely out of left field that allows you to play your Xbox games. You know what I mean? Because you were talking like how Microsoft wants you to use your phone, which is all well and good, but I can't use my what was the what's it called? The little thing with the X bone or the
grippy thing.
The grippy thing. I can't remember the name of it to save my life. I bought one and I can't use it because it won't fit with a case. So if they made a tablet style screen thing that had controllers built into it, like a Switch or like a whatever, that allowed you to use it like a tablet, but also be able to play your Xbox games, I guess that, and Steam games. Maybe combine those two things. It could be that. It could be the LCD thing like you're talking about. It could be a new Switch, but it's all speculation at this point.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth noting.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, based upon looking at the market right now, it's not Microsoft, it's not Sony, and it's not Nintendo.
You don't think it's any of them?
No.
Interesting. Okay.
So
Guess we'll have to wait and see what that's about.
yep.
I do want to mention this Tears of the Kingdom speedrun, which this news dropped on Friday, the day the game came out. So, clearly this is somebody that got an advanced copy, but no amiibo was used, so there was no bonuses. There's a video up of this speedrun in 94 minutes. I do not understand. I don't get it. How are people able to figure this stuff out? I mean, even if you got an advanced copy, there's no way you got it more than a month in advance, right?
Maybe. Or they got some inside information from somebody. But here's the thing. Remember, you can go almost all the way to the end of Breath of the Wild.
Right at the beginning. Yeah.
Right at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you right now, pretty sure you can do that again.
So is that what it is? It's the same thing? Because I know the overall map is supposed to be the same thing, but dude, I took way more than 94 minutes just in the open area before you get to Hyrule. So what are they doing to get through those shrines? And I don't know. It's just all kind of nuts to me.
Legitimately, you just need to get to the first tower.
Is that what it is?
Once you get to the first tower, it basically opens up literally the entire map.
Mm-hmm. It makes me wonder if there's going to be. I mean, this is only the first week, so that record's going to get broken
faster.
Yeah, it's going to just keep going
because
and going. But
nobody's found like the little glitch hacks and everything like they used for Elden Ring when they're like, I beat Elden Ring in 5 minutes.
Right. And I didn't watch the video because I didn't want to be spoiled because I kind of want to enjoy Tears of the Kingdom. I want to experience everything and see if the ending is better than Breath of the Wild. And I just love being in that world. I'm not going to watch it. So I can't see if they've done any glitches or if they actually did like a legitimate.
I will watch whatever the faster one is when I finish the game.
There you go. I do want to mention lastly also this budget for Grand Theft Auto 6, which I know we haven't heard a lot about that game since, remember when they released that pre-alpha footage and everyone freaked out about how ugly it looked? But this report comes from a company called Dextero. Grand Theft Auto 6 has a budget of somewhere between $1 and $2 billion, which is insane. It's insane, but they'll make it. That's they'll still make money on that, which is what's nuts. This would be officially the most expensive game to date. For comparison, remember Star Citizen, the crowdfunded game that still hasn't been made yet? That game has raised over $500 million, just $500 million. And the second runner-up is Cyberpunk 2077, which cost $174 million. And then Grand Theft Auto 5 only cost $137.5 million. I do not understand. Is it marketing? Where are they putting $1.2 billion unless
Either
it's
that or they had to, like, that stuff got leaked and they're like, well, I guess we're going to have to scrap everything.
Oh, so you think it could be like starting from scratch and that? I don't know.
Either that or for the sake of like music licenses, they're just permanently buying licenses.
Or they're getting Hollywood talent for voices. That could be a factor too.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That to me, that doesn't justify a $1 to $2 billion game.
I would have to assume that includes marketing.
But here's the thing. They've had Hollywood talent in other ones, and it didn't cost them $1 to $2 billion.
No, I know. But what if it were just flooded with Hollywood talent? I mean,
I remember when they did that with Death Stranding. So
yeah.
It does not cost one. This is a clout maneuver. Like, look at the stupid amount of money we've put into this game.
Oh, you think that's what it is?
Yeah. When you have one of the best, like, pretty much the best-selling game of all time, and you spent $137.5 million, and you're like, we're going to take our budget and multiply it by 10 to 20.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm with you. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Grand Theft Auto 6 because, and that's coming from a person that's probably not going to play it.
Yeah.
I played through Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah,
but it was impressive from a technical standpoint, but I wouldn't say I had fun with it.
You know the last Grand Theft Auto I played to completion?
4?
Vice City.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have not, since Vice City, I haven't liked any of them.
Oh, okay.
I started playing. Well, I liked 3. I liked Vice City. I tried playing through 4. I was bored.
Mm-hmm.
Tried playing through 5. I was bored.
Well, I also think that part of what they're leaning into with 6 is going to be the multiplayer, because that was a big part of 5, and why that game had such legs after. Remember, like Grand Theft Auto 5 was on the top of the sales charts for like years, because part of it was they kept re-releasing it on newer platforms, but people like to play that online portion. That was big, so they could really be dumping a ton of money into that as well as the single player. But they did that with 5 too, and that was
you already did that with 5. So where's the money going?
Yeah, who knows? It's kind of nuts. Well, that's the week's news. Let's go ahead and move on. I want to remind everybody about ways that you can support us here at the Gaming Outsider. We do have a Patreon page that we would love it if you helped us out. We basically take any money that we get from Patreon, we use it to pay for the show, and anything on top of that goes towards doing picking up copies of games that we review, which we in turn give away to the community. And I love what our community has done with that, because Darren Allen recently won a copy of Jedi Survivor on Xbox, and he finished it. He contacted me this week and said, I finished it. Who can I send it on to next? And he is actually sending it to Sai Quinones from the community, and he's agreed to pass it on to somebody after him. So I love that we've got this whole cyclical thing going of passing on the game. So if you'd like to be a part of that, head over to patreon.com/thegocast. Anything, even if we have anything left over after that, we do not pay ourselves. Anything extra will go towards R2V2 to make that experience as positive as possible. We are not in the business of making money for ourselves. Also, if you do contribute, we have some bonus content available for you. Recently, we did a Peace of Mind episode where Zach, Alyssa, and myself sat down and just talked about whatever. And that was pretty R-rated conversation. So if you'd like to hear us go off the rails a little bit, check that out. We also recently released a Desert Islands episode with Sean Coates. He had a great time doing that. And also, we're going to be doing that spoiler cast for Jedi Survivor, hopefully with Chris and Zach, because I haven't beat it. Any of our Patreon subscribers that would like to join in that conversation that have already finished it, hit me up. And then I promise Kevin and I are going to do that trade-off episode for Grandia 2 and RoboTrek. He actually was getting on my case this week about finishing it. I need to go back and finish that game. So stay tuned for that. Again, if any of that sounds good, hit us up on patreon.com/thegocast. We do greatly appreciate it. With that, let's go ahead and get into the new games that we've been playing. CB, why don't you give everybody a rundown of what games are coming out this week that they can purchase?
Ooh, there's a little bit of a list. Lego 2K Drive, coming to PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on May 19th. After Us comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC on May 23rd. Monster Menu, The Scavenger's Cookbook, PS5, PS4, Switch on May 23rd. Convergence, a League of Legends stories. I keep forgetting that they're still making those. PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, PC on May 23rd. Coming out with another farming simulator. Coming to Switch, iOS, and Android on May 23rd. Miasma Chronicles, PS5, Series X and S, PC on May 23rd. Planet of Lana, Series X and S, Xbox One and PC, May 23rd. Star Trek Resurgence, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC, May 23rd. The Lord of the Rings Gollum finally is releasing PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC on May 25th. Railway Empire, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC, May 25th. Cassette Beasts on Xbox.
Beasts, not Beats.
Oh, Beasts. I had a moment there. So Cassette Beasts, Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, May 25th. Evil Wizard, Series X and S, Xbox One, PC, May 25th, and also Above Snakes on PC on May 25th. What are you going to be playing there, Scott?
Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, that's going to be my life for the next few weeks, unfortunately. I will say you're going to hear about Cassette Beasts here shortly. Rel reviewed that for us. That sounds a lot more interesting than I was expecting. I think it sounds pretty cool, but if I had to... And I'm nervous about Gollum. I keep hearing a lot of negative things about that one, and what a weird release time for that one. You know, a week or week and a half after Zelda. I mean, there's this whole list seems like they just pushed it back to get out of the way of Zelda.
Yeah. I will admit, I want to play Gollum just because I'm a Lord of the Rings fan.
Right.
That's my shtick. I like those. So I'm curious to see what they do, like, as far as where it's going to fall on the spectrum, because everybody's so familiar with the books or the movies. So
right. I if I'm going to have to pick one, though, I would say Lego 2K Drive, just because I think that seems like a fun concept. But that is a game I will pick up months down the road when it's much cheaper. I have no desire to play it on release week. How about you?
I mean, just I will be playing Tears of the Kingdom, but Gollum and Star Trek Resurgence.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, let's get into it, man, because you and I both have been playing The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. You're much farther than I am, but I didn't get a chance to dive into it until yesterday morning, but I spent most of the morning and early afternoon playing it. What are your early impressions of the third Zelda game that you've ever played?
Hang on. It'll be the third Zelda game I'll have played to completion.
Oh, okay, that's right. You did play a little Link to the Past, right?
I played more than half of it, but I also played
that's right. We played Zelda 2. Yeah, okay.
Well, Zelda 2, Breath of the Wild. I played all the CDI ones.
Oh, that doesn't count.
Phantom Hourglass.
Okay, all right.
So, it's better than Breath of the Wild.
I'm feeling the same way, man. I like Breath of the Wild. I didn't love Breath of the Wild.
This feels more like a Zelda game than Breath of the Wild.
You think so?
Yes. Because
how so?
Puzzles.
I mean, the Breath of the Wild had puzzles as well.
Not like this. You aren't as far as I am.
Okay. All right.
And this game to me feels more in tune with the spirit of a Zelda game, because like, oh, look, running along. Hey, that crack in the wall looks funny. I should hit there. Boom. Oh, secret. And it does the whole like da 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 da, whenever you like find like the little discoveries.
That music, by the way, it's all done with piano. It's incredible. Like that or the when you when you get a secret, or when you I just love that they've done that with just piano, which I feel like they did that in Breath of the Wild too. The music itself feels much more Zelda than the last one. There's still a lot of ambient music going on.
Okay, I was literally just about to point this out.
Mm-hmm.
But the background music, like, granted, it's slower.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed it sounds really familiar?
I have not. What is it?
Because every now and then I hear, like, listening closely, it almost sounds like they just slowed down the original NES Legend of Zelda theme.
I love it.
And just like change the key a little bit, because I'm sitting here, I'm like, this sounds familiar.
A lot of people have been asking me, like in DMs and stuff, is there still destructible weapons? Are there dungeons and all that good stuff? I will say that the destructible weapons thing is still there. You do not get to start the game, the main game with the Master Sword. You have to, pick up sticks to start out, and you'll eventually get swords and axes and all that. That is still here. However, I feel like it's nowhere near as annoying as it was in the first game.
Yeah, it's not as bad.
But there's always something available.
Because of a new ability.
Oh. Maybe it's an ability I haven't got yet. I've got like the first 4 Bane abilities.
Have you got Fuse?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Utilize the hell out of that.
Yeah, I haven't used Fuse as much with weapons as I have with... Yeah.
You are screwing up, sir.
That's what one of the things that I really like about this game is I feel like the game starts out in that opening area that's like up in the sky, right? Before you actually get to Hyrule, there's 3 shrines that you have to get to, and after you finish those 3 shrines, you'll have 4 basic. There's 4 up there. Oh yeah, well you got the first starting one, right? Yeah. Oh no, there's the 4th one that they give you in order to be able to open the door. Okay, yeah. But anyway, my point is that you gain an ability for each of these, and these are abilities that in a normal Zelda game feel like you would get them throughout the game, and instead they front load these to you at the opening section of the game. Granted, there's more abilities coming. I get that.
Yes. This is your start for those listening. Like, this is not spoilers. It's very much, these are your starter abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason they are, because you find I'll let you come back to what you were saying, Scott, because these abilities, you will find that there are ways to use them in tandem with one another.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like in most Zelda games, you get the ability, you use it for that dungeon, and then you may use it in some other dungeons later. This one, you're front-loaded all these abilities, and then you find new and unique ways to use those abilities as you go. The ability and freedom that you have in this game is insane. It is absolutely insane. I remember watching that first trailer where they showed you fusing all this stuff together, fusing the weapons and fusing the vehicles and stuff like that. And I typically don't have a whole lot of desire to do that. I am enjoying the crap out of doing that in this game.
You haven't built an airplane yet, have you?
I have not built one, but I've ridden a glider, which I didn't know was in the game. That was a pretty cool moment.
Okay, hang on. You've ridden a glider.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till you make it powered.
Nice. Well, no, yeah. I put a little fan on the back of it.
Did you get a joystick for it?
Nope. Okay, I'm excited. I will
say this real quick about the glider. The intuition for flying that thing is incredible.
Well, we could just like stand on whatever part of it you want to make it turn, or
I'm
dive.
Gonna just walk out on a wing for like a slow bank turn, or like walk way out on a wing and just watch this thing just stall out.
Ah, dude, I said it already, but the level of freedom that you have in this game is absolutely nuts. Have you done the shrine where you have to transport a large metal ball like around the 4 corners of the room by putting it on these tracks? And the first one's really easy. You just put it on a track and it rolls. And then the next one you have to fuse like these sticks to be able to make it slide across. And then you're given just one track and you have to figure out how to get it. The way that I solve that, I feel like is probably not the way the game intended. I basically made a hook out of sticks and attached the ball to it. And then just like, I don't know if that's how you're supposed to do it.
You want to know how I did it?
How'd you do it?
I made a triangle.
Okay, but how'd you get the triangle to hook on it? Like a closed triangle?
Because you know how there's like the L-shape pieces in that room?
Yeah.
I fused one to one side, put it right next to it, and then took one of the other ones and just boop.
That's kind of what I did with sticks. So maybe that is what you're supposed to do, but I felt like I came up with a way to do it that wasn't supposed to be.
But
and this is so early on in the game, it just feels like there's the possibilities.
So I'm playing this, one of my coworkers, like we were both playing it at the same time. And even though I had played a little bit the day before, he had played a little, we were basically neck and neck with each other. Because we were both like, where are you? He's like, I'm here. And I'm like, oh, me too. So we were trying to get to one of the because we were still up in the sky area with the shrines.
Yeah.
And there's the one that's on top of the cold area. So he went one way and I went a completely different way.
Yeah. That's what I am loving about this game is like most Zelda games give you one way to complete a puzzle or to get to a specific place. And it feels like there are endless possibilities of solutions, not only puzzles, but also traversal.
Yeah.
That just are incredible.
Now, here's the funny part. The fourth one.
Mm-hmm.
So you go up and you have to like climb and everything. How'd you get there?
The fourth one. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. How did you get there?
Because you have to go like across that bridge and it puts you in the cave and you have to like climb up the cave and everything.
Uh-huh.
Is that how you got there?
I think so, yeah.
I used to send.
Oh, did you?
I literally stood at the bottom of the mountain and just, it's green above me.
It went all the way up to the top?
All the way through, and I stood right in front of the shrine.
That's one thing we should mention. I know these were all in the video, but the abilities, the fuse ability allows you to kind of
merge
glue
two
items together. Yeah, any two objects or 3, 4, 5, 6 objects together. The ascend ability, I feel like that's a game changer in terms of traversal for like the reason you just said. Never, when I first saw that ability being done at the very first trailer for Tears of the Kingdom, I didn't even realize it was ability. I just thought it was something in a cutscene. But this ability allows you to basically stand under a rock formation and more or less just like go straight up through it like it's jelly, and then you kind of stick out the top and get to do that. I mean, it takes away the burden of climbing in some instances.
There are definitely limitations to it.
Oh yeah, it's got to be a specific type of rock or whatever. But yeah, also the rewind function, where you can take any object and basically rewind it, which is a nice way to get back up into the sky realm or whatever they call it. You know, if a platform drops, you just get on it and then rewind it. It will shoot you back up. That's really cool. What's the top one? What's the top ability? That's ascend, fuse, rewind.
Oh, Ultra Hand.
Ultra Hand, which you just basically use to
move things.
Those are the 4 basic ones, but I just love.
I use Ultra Hand so much.
Oh yeah, and I didn't think I would when I watched these trailers. I was like, I'm not going to do all this building.
In the beginning, it seems like such a burden, and now like I've gotten so used to using it that I'm like,
yeah.
God,
this it seems so complicated the first time you do it when you figure out how you have to rotate objects and pull them towards you or whatever. Now it becomes like I'm using a second hand almost to do it. It's become second nature. It's great.
Now, as good as this game is, I have found an interesting flaw.
Okay.
The shrines are predetermined.
Shrines are predetermined? What do you mean?
Doesn't matter what shrine you go to, there's an order.
Seriously?
Yep.
So, like, this shrine isn't that puzzle? How do you know that?
Because both my friend and I at work, he went one way on the map, I went another way, and we both had the exact same shrines.
Interesting.
So it doesn't matter what shrine you go to, it will be a predetermined shrine.
I did not know that. I wonder if that's so that they make sure that you have the right abilities to get
you. So, how many shrines do you have done?
Around 10.
I'm at 26.
Uh-huh.
And my friend at work, he's at like 20. And he's just like, oh, so which way did you go? And I'm like, oh, I went north and this way. And he's like, I went south. And he's like, have you run into this shrine? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, how could you run into that shrine? It's in the south.
That doesn't make any sense though, man, because I'll admit I've looked up a shrine that I got stuck on. I could not figure out how to do something, and I put in the name of the shrine, and it had the exact puzzle.
But here's the thing: once you get to Hyrule, you can go any direction you want. I will tell you that right now. So the fact that you were like, "Hey, did you do the ball shrine?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did the ball shrine."
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I can be like, I guarantee I can look at my map and look at your map, and they're completely different.
We're gonna have to compare notes because I have a hard time believing that's accurate. But I mean, why is it also a flaw?
Just because I'm like, I liked the randomness of the old shrines, where like you ran into shrines and you're like, I can't physically do this yet.
Right.
Whereas now it's just like, I can do any of these because the game has predetermined this is the gear set that you have currently. These are the abilities that you have currently. You can figure this puzzle out.
I'm going to have to look into that, man, because I really... Like, how would you be able to look up... They would have to change the name of the shrines.
No, they wouldn't.
You know what I mean?
No,
yeah,
because...
they would, like, if you're looking it up, like, that shrine's name, like, if you're looking it up on Google to figure out a solution for a puzzle, and you put in the name of that shrine, and it's in the same location as it was...
No, because it's not in the same location. Once you go to that shrine... It gives you
coordinates, man. They give you literal coordinates.
Some of the shrines, I don't know how many it is, but I know that the first 10 shrines that both I encountered and my friend encountered were the exact same shrines. Like, in the exact same order.
We're going to have to test this. We're going to have to. We're gonna. Thankfully, it's easy to do with the switches. We can just do it right next to each other and be like, I'm at this puzzle, or I'm at this shrine, I'm at this shrine. Let's see if we have the same puzzle.
How many of the towers have you unlocked?
Just the one. I'm on my way to my second.
And see, here's the thing. I've unlocked 6.
Uh-huh.
And one of the shrines that I had in the 6th area that I unlocked was the exact same shrine as my friend, who was... See, I went north, and he went south. So how are we encountering the same shrines?
I'm going west.
Yeah, but how are we encountering the same shrines?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into it. Oh, by the way, would you like me to ruin shrines for you?
Sure.
Next time you go to a shrine, I probably can't even say it on this show. The shrines look like a specific meme on the internet.
Oh no, I knew that.
I can't unsee it now, man.
Especially with the opening.
Yes, the opening and the 2 hands. Anyway, I got a little bit more I want to say about this, and I know that people listen to this probably know what a massive Zelda fan I am. So I feel like some people are going to take whatever I say in terms of how I feel about this game with a grain of salt. At least anything positive I say with this game with a grain of salt. But I gotta tell you, this game gave me the closest feeling I had to that Ocarina of Time moment when you first come out onto Hyrule Field back in the late 90s. I haven't experienced a feeling close to that until Tears of the Kingdom, the first time you actually get to go to Hyrule. The scope of this game in terms of verticality is absolutely insane. And I know that, sure, that's a lot of empty space we're talking about, but there's just something staggering to me about how massive this map is, but also how much space there is above ground level. You know, it kind of blows my mind. And then when you think about it, that it's on this tiny little cartridge about that big, it's impressive.
So, you know when you get shot up in the towers?
Yeah. Yeah.
Guess what? There's shrines up there, too.
I believe it, yeah. I mean, there's like 2 levels of worlds in this game.
Oh, I completely forgot my favorite thing. The stupid the stupid gumball thing.
Yeah, where you get like, you insert those coins or not coins, but the power cell things.
Okay. You know there's no limit to how much you can carry for that, right?
Right. I've stacked up on fans and blades and all kinds of stuff.
Wait till you drop 5 large power cells in there.
I have only got 1 large power cell, so I'm excited to see what happens when I do that.
You feel like you went to Vegas.
Yeah.
Brrr, it just barfs out and you're like, I can't pick them all up fast enough. I
will
lost
say
a
I'm
couple
not-
off a cliff edge.
Did you really? I'm not understanding is it a smelter? Where you get you turn in those power cells and he gives you triangle ones, and then do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I don't understand what I'm doing there. I'm turning stuff in and I'm getting something, but he says come back
more
later.
Advanced machinery later.
Okay. Is that all for building, like building materials? Is that all that is? Okay. I've also not seen, I've gotten one heart container. I haven't seen how to increase your hearts yet. But I mean, are you finding pieces of heart, or are you finding that you just randomly come across a full one? Or is it from beating bosses or something?
How did you get your heart container?
It was that shrine that you had to have 4 hearts to open the door. Right? Is that how it just happens in
That's
the
how
future?
you do it.
Okay. I've also not come across a single rupee.
Oh. All those stupid rocks on the ground, start picking them up.
Oh, pick them up and throw them against another wall or something?
Just pick them up.
Oh, okay.
You pick it up and it's like, oh, look, a rupee.
Gotcha.
Or you have to find a glow bunny.
I saw a glow bunny. I didn't know. I just chased one into a cave.
Shoot it.
Shoot it? Okay. I will try that then. But
Or-
yes,
Have you started fusing arrows?
I fuse things to arrows, like I can bomb flowers to arrows.
Mm. Oh, dude, you have no idea how much fun that's going to get.
Yeah.
Because
I-
every fruit that you can pick up or gem that you pick up, you can fuse to arrows too.
What does that do?
Read them. They tell you what they do.
Okay. All right.
But it's very important. Stock up on all the fruit you can find.
I stock up on anything I can pick up.
But certain ones like fire flowers or splash fruit,
Hmm.
don't ever eat those.
They're good for weapons.
They're good for weapons because I'm in the Zora area.
Zoro domain.
Yeah, so I'm there. And you require a lot of a specific type to do certain things.
Gotcha.
So also I love the cooking way more in this.
I haven't figured out how to put 2 items in a pot. I can only put 1 item in a pot. I don't know what do you have to fuse them first?
No, you have to start talking. There's certain people that tell you recipes and everything.
Mhm.
You have to learn that as you kind of go, because for some reason Link has completely lost his mind and forgot how to do everything again.
Yeah.
But for me, when I played through Breath of the Wild, I never cooked anything.
I only did
Until,
when I had to, if you had to survive the cold or something like that.
But until late in the game, because I'm like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
I didn't know. So now I'm having a lot more fun with it, mixing things together.
Right.
And just absolutely murking birds and foxes for meat.
Nice. I'm finding a lot of the things that I didn't love about Breath of the Wild, I'm enjoying them more in Tears of the Kingdom, and I don't understand why, because they seem very similar, but...
It's because now that you played through Breath of the Wild, you have a better understanding of how some of these things are done.
Right.
And the versatility of these new abilities it feels like Breath of the Wild was always missing something.
Mm-hmm.
And this game has filled what was missing.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain it.
Everything just meshes together so much better. So I'm really curious to see how this story plays out, because there's 2 things that I've seen, which I'm not talking about because I do feel that they are very spoiler-y.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen 2 things, one very early in the game, one not that long ago, that there was a theory that I had talked to you about.
Okay.
And I really do feel like that's a thing.
Okay, we'll have to talk about it off air.
Yeah. So, because I have a feeling we'll be doing a spoiler cast on this as well.
Yeah.
Because if I'm right, it's going to be kind of interesting.
Okay. The last thing I'll say about this game is it should come as no surprise that I'm enjoying it. Being a massive Zelda fan. But to be fair, I was not super looking forward to this one until that last trailer dropped, and then I got really pumped with the new abilities. This feels like a I'm gonna probably get crucified for this. This feels like a Skyrim level of depth in a Zelda game.
You're right.
I mean, in terms of just the items that you pick up, the side quests, the fuse ability alone feels like we're gonna see all kinds of TikTok videos of all the crazy stuff that people do in this game. I was already seeing it in Breath of the Wild, and I cannot wait to see the random, insane stuff that people come up with to do in this game.
My buddy already showed me a couple that he built.
Yeah,
like traps to kill bokoblins.
Yeah, I saw someone that made a war machine that basically shoots missiles. I mean, it's just nuts what you can do. But I feel like this is the first time this year that I've played a game where as soon as I turned it off to go do something else, I was immediately thinking about it and wishing that I were back playing it.
I mean, I will be playing it as soon as we're done.
Yeah, I miss that feeling of I cannot wait to get back into it. And that's what's so great about it being on the Switch is when I'm not playing it on my TV, I can just pull it out and take it with me, and you can make a little bit of progress in 10 or 15 minutes even if it's just traversal or solving a quick shrine or
so how I play these games is I just run around and do towers and shrines.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all I want to do for right now.
You're playing it like the way I play Assassin's Creed back in the day.
Yeah, but there's a method to my madness.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm expecting to find a certain thing that costs 13 hearts.
Oh, I wonder what that is.
I have no idea. But
so that's why you're increasing that is the shrines and the towers.
Just shrines increases hearts, and so if you read like right in the on your little tablet that you have, it openly talks.
You mean your Switch that you carry around?
My Switch that I like hook into a wire and like scan the sky.
Yeah, the technology they sure are leaning into this like modern technology in the Zelda universe in this one.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
but it openly
he
says,
literally like when you do a tower, he literally like takes pictures of like while he's falling. He takes like this scanned image onto his what is it, Pura slate or Pura?
Yeah, my Pura slate. Yeah. But no, the shrines increase hearts and stamina vessels because I do like 2 hearts, 2 stamina, 2 hearts, 2 stamina.
Oh, you get to choose.
Yeah, you can choose either or.
Gotcha.
But things like the stupid seeds,
Korok seeds.
the Korok seeds increase.
Those actually increase like your capacity, like your
capacity for weapons only.
No, I was able to choose weapons, and then I was able to choose shields. I was able to choose either weapons, shields. Oh, weapons, shields, or
bow and arrow. All of which are weapons.
Shields aren't weapons.
Can you hit things with it? Congrats, it's a weapon.
Now we're arguing semantics.
But then I do know that because they talk about it on the slate, the fairies increase armor. So there's slight changes to this version of the game.
I'm loving it. I am liking it a lot more than I thought I was going to, and I just love being in this world. My only downside is I feel like I'm starting to avoid conversations with people just because I feel like most of them are meaningless.
I actually took my so on my computer I have it filtered to anything that is Breath of the Wild, do not show me.
You mean Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah, well, Tears of the Kingdom. Like, so when I pull up Google, any news story, anything like that, blocked.
Oh, because you don't want to know what's going on story-wise.
Nope.
Yeah.
I did that 3 weeks ago, so that's why I'm like, you're like, oh, the last trailer. I'm like, I never even saw it.
Nice, man. Well, it sounds we're both loving this.
It's great.
This is going to be my game for the next several weeks. Just the sheer size and scope of this game. I know a lot of people are turned off by this formula of Zelda because it's not the traditional Zelda. I would encourage you to give this one a shot because I think that they're doing some things in this game that are really, really special. The shrine puzzles. Did you do the one with the hot air balloons?
Yep.
That just so freaking clever. Just when you think they can't come up with any other new ideas for this franchise, there are so many clever ideas. You may want to consider.
Still leans into my theory that the shrines are predetermined.
We're gonna confirm or debunk that in the future because I gotta know. That seems odd, but yeah, give it a shot. I know everybody complained about this game being a $7 title on
It's worth it. Every penny.
the inferior console or whatever. I have a hard time saying that this one is not worth $70.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, this to me feels like the original Legend of Zelda in 3D.
I can see that just in terms of the discovery. I love when you find a cave and it says discovery. You know, like
But the thing is, there's like hidden caves where you have to bomb a wall.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this feels like the original formula in 3D, like, but at a more sophisticated level.
I agree. The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. We got to stop talking about it. I feel like I could talk about it for another half an hour, but we got to move on. I got one more review to share with you guys. Rel stopped by to talk about this game, Cassette Beasts, which if you like Pokemon, you may want to check this out. I was not expecting him to tell me about this game and me get intrigued by it as much as I was. So let's listen to that review right now. Well, hello there, Rel. Long time no see. How you been?
Been well. The kid's asleep, and I am free.
I don't have any kids, but I'm just always free, apparently, except for I'm not.
You are.
But you were here to talk to us about a game called Cassette Beasts, which comes from developer Bitten Studio, and the publisher is Raw Fury. And the game is provided to us by Sandbox Strategies. This looks like a turn-based JRPG, which I know is right in your wheelhouse. But I feel like music plays a part in what sets this one apart from other ones. Is that true or no?
I mean, shockingly, a game called Cassette Beasts, yes, music does have an impact in it, but the best way that I can describe this is a more adult Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
And when I was recording the video for this game, I very steadfastly did not say the P word, but I'm just going to say it here. It's Pokemon. Look, it's a more mature, it's different take on Pokemon. It has a lot of the same trappings. You will catch monsters by recording them onto your cassette tapes. You will transform onto monsters by playing back the cassette tapes with, I don't know, I think there's like magic headphones or something. I don't know.
So they just swap out the Pokeball for a cassette tape?
Pretty much. You will gain special abilities that allow you to traverse the world a little bit easier. But rather than it being like on the backs of your Pokemon, you just seem to absorb certain powers. Like you initially get a glide, and you can also get like a grappling hook type of thing, except it's more like the D&D spell Lightning Lure. There's like a lot of little differences, but it all adds up to a familiar experience that's done really well.
Okay. So, and that's traversal stuff you're talking about, the overworld, right?
Yeah, it's got the same type of like 2D overworld. It's more like 3/4 isometric as opposed to the top-down view on the older Pokemon games. Mm-hmm. But it's got all the same mechanics. It's a lot of fighting and type matching and capturing and team building, but it has a lot of little quality of life features that make it better. Like in the Pokemon games, you have to weaken a Pokemon, you have to throw the ball, you have to hope it goes did-it-in, 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 right?
Well, if you press the B button, that makes it it increases your chances.
That
right?
is a lie.
We actually talked about that last week.
That is such a lie. That was a lie well before the internet came around and everyone could just point to it and say, hey, that's a lie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Completely. But like in this game, in Cassette Beasts, if you are recording, like you actually choose, okay, here's a tape that I'm going to use, I'm recording, it shows you the percentage that you can capture it at the end of the turn, and dealing damage to it will increase your chances. Taking damage can decrease your chances. And it cannot run while it's being recorded, and you can't kill it while it's being recorded. So it's not necessarily a guaranteed capture every single time, but it takes a lot of the really annoying guesswork out of it.
Gotcha. Okay. What's the story like? I mean, is that Pokemon as well?
No, sort of. Let me put it this way without getting too deep into it. It's basically like almost a Link's Awakening type of intro where you awaken on the beach of an island. You have no idea how you got there. And then you're basically told that, and this is like in the first 10 minutes, so it's not really a spoiler. You're basically told that this is not an island that's on Earth, or as near as everybody can tell, because no one's been able to leave, it's not an island on Earth. And so there's all these monsters wandering around. There's some kind of super beasts called archangels that are sort of somehow the key to everything. And there's a mystery underneath it all, but also very early on, you get the task of, like, if you want to join the Rangers, which is, the patrolling, keeping people safe type of organization, you have to go to these places and meet these veteran Rangers and take on their challenges. And the second I got the stamp card, I just knew this was a Pokemon game.
Gotcha. All right. Talk to me about the music, because when I went to search for the trailer, one of the things that like auto-populated in the search box was Cassette Beasts' original soundtrack. So I just assume that that's a big part in this, and the song in the trailer was pretty catchy. But is that a common trend throughout the game?
Yeah, I mean, I like the music. I don't know if I would say, like, not having played Scarlet and Violet, I can't compare it to Toby Fox's like contributions to that soundtrack or anything. But the battle theme is pretty catchy. The main hub town has like actual vocals to the background music, which is pretty cool. I hope I don't get content ID matched with the review video I'm doing. And it's all pretty good. I mean, they did make an effort to make the music match the tone and put together, like, it's just generally well-crafted game.
Very cool. So it sounds like you recommend Cassette Beasts for everybody, yes?
I mean, I certainly would. It's about, let's see, it's $20 American. It's about 20-ish hours, probably longer if you want to do a whole lot of post-game stuff. But like I said, if you want a more mature take on Pokemon with, actual adults and not just, you're a 10-year-old kid, go off and have an adventure. And by the way, there's these two evil organizations that you maybe have to stop. It's something a little bit deeper than that. And I really enjoyed it because it was a different take. It's also more challenging because it's not just type matching where you do more damage. It's things like if you hit a metal type with fire, it will heat up and take fire damage over time, guaranteed. Whereas if you hit a water type with fire, it will steam and regain HP at the end of each turn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's more of a case of like mixing and matching status buffs and debuffs over, like, just super effective damage. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Cool. And you are playing this on PC. I believe it's only on PC from what I could tell, but it is available on PC Game Pass as well. So if you are a subscriber there, you can check this one out.
And it is also coming to console. Oh, where was it? It is coming to console. Let's see, Xbox and Switch on the 25th of May.
Oh, okay. So that's coming up.
Heck
Very
yeah.
cool. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing your video review on YouTube. Can you share with everybody where they can watch that when it drops? Excuse me.
Yeah, it's going to be on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/relplays. That's youtube.com/RELLE plays.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for stopping by. We will catch you next time, all right?
Later.
Thank you, Rel. As always, it is a pleasure talking with you. Let's go ahead and move on. Some quick housekeeping. Want to remind everybody of ways that you can follow The Gaming Outsider on social media. First off, facebook.com/groups/The GoCast. We've got some new members over there. Brian Capes, Tyler Costner. That's the guy we met at GameStop on Friday.
It is.
Jake Wickland and Jared Gaddis. Welcome to the community, guys. Hope you are enjoying the show. Hope you are enjoying the Facebook community because it is a lot of fun over there. Also, on Discord, we've got our server linked in the show notes for this very episode. We've got a new member over there. He goes by the name Va, V-A-H. Fun fact, that is Damon, who we met at GameStop and was nice enough to hook me up with the keychain for Tears of the Kingdom. So be sure to give him a hearty hello and thank you. Also, we do have a review I'd like to share with you, and thank you so much. I know I was a little doom and gloom last week with the negative review we got, but I believe this is Paul Hine. I'm not 100% certain, but the name is TKD Giant. If I remember, Paul is a big Taekwondo guy, and he's also about 6.5 feet tall. So I feel like this might be him. But he said the title of the review is Look Forward to the New Episode Every Week. And he says, this show was recommended to me a few years ago by a friend, and I have looked forward to each episode every week. The hosts take on the games they play, the games they want to play, and the games they wish they could play for 2 hours of great listening. The feel is decidedly non-corpo, like so many other video game podcasts can be. I like how they will rip and praise any brand equally. The community around the show is fantastic and very supportive. You will enjoy this show. Subscribe. What are you waiting for? Paul, if that is indeed you, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, we would love to get some more reviews on there to get the word out about what we're doing here. If you can't tell, we put a lot of work into this podcast, and those positive reviews really help. Lastly, our website is thegamingoutsider.com. There you can read all of our reviews and editorials, as well as find links for every single episode that we've ever recorded. And we would love if you checked out our written content as well. Again, thegamingoutsider.com. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. I so wanted to do a topic centered around The Legend of Zelda this week, but seeing how it was going to be just CB and I, and he's only beaten 2 Zelda games, it didn't seem like a good idea for us to do a deep dive onto Zelda.
3.
Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
Zelda 2.
You did beat Zelda 2?
Yes.
Okay, my bad. 3 Zelda games. So I didn't want to be selfish and do just a Zelda-centered topic. I decided to kind of take a different spin on it and talk about our least favorite titles in our favorite franchises. Everybody knows that Zelda takes the cake for me, but I can also come up with titles in that series that just didn't quite work for me. We're going to get to that as well as CB's and the community's responses to this question. But first, CB, I want to know your thoughts on how this happens. Is it developers being afraid of not selling their titles for being too much like the previous titles, or is there something more to it? Why, we get these great franchises and there's always that one, or not always, but there's often that 1 or 2 redheaded stepchild of this series. Why do you think that happens?
Just phoning it in.
Yeah. Looking for the cheap buck.
Well, they're like, oh, look, people are buying, people are loving the story, but we're building towards something, so we just got to pump something out real quick, get it out there, and
yeah, that's where it becomes more about money than the art. And at the end of the day, you're in the business of making money. I get it, but I feel oftentimes giving the fans what they want is going to make you more money in the long run instead of just putting out something that
yeah. Or you have different developers building something at the same time in the same universe. Specifically Treyarch and what was it, Obsidian? Doing Call of Duty.
Was it Obsidian doing Call of Duty?
No, it was Treyarch and somebody else. For some reason, Obsidian popped into my head. But
Zach is like yelling at us right now while he's listening to this. He's just screaming like, "What idiots you guys are!" I can't remember the Call of Duty developer. I remember Treyarch for sure, but
but I feel that happens sometimes or you have midway through production, specifically like Amy Hennig, just bye. And
I remember Duke Nukem Forever. Didn't that change like 4 or 5 different developers' hands?
Developers, owners,
yeah,
that
it's like the movie Cube. You know, like when they give the explanation of how the cube was made. I feel like that was Duke Nukem Forever.
Like that happens so much where it's just something started this way and they forgot what they were doing and just corporate's like, yeah, just keep funneling money into it. It'll do something eventually.
Throw money at it, see what happens. Yeah. Do you think there's a series out there that it has all perfect games? Is there any series that didn't have a stinker?
Again, this is where you need to apply metrics. Like, are you talking sales? Are you talking story?
I'm talking, well, yeah. I mean, like, I'm just talking from a personal standpoint. For you, is there a perfect series of games? One where you enjoyed every game in the series?
No?
Can't think of a single one?
No.
Like, my mind first went to Mega Man. Like, I prefer the Mega Man X series, but I liked Mega Man X up until it got to like 5 or 6, and then I just kind of fell off. Maybe the original Mega Man? I don't really feel like there was... But then, like, does that count? Because the Mega Man series as a whole would include, like, the Legends games, Battle Network.
The problem is Mega Man is so convoluted anymore that it has the same problem as Saw, where you got to make games to retcon and fix errors in your own story.
Right, but but I can tell you that from the original 11 Mega Man games, there's not one in there that I didn't have a good time with. There are some that I like better than others, but there's not one that sticks out of my mind as that one was a turd. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Wait, never mind. Mega Man 7. I forgot Mega Man 8.
Yeah, I
still had a good time.
7 wasn't that bad.
7 was pretty bad, man. That was the Super Nintendo one.
Yeah, but I mean, was it 8 bad?
8 was the one that had Dr. Wily as voiced by Elmer Fudd.
Dr. Wily?
Dr. Wily. But I still had fun with the gameplay in those. I think 7, yeah, so I can't count that because 7 and 8 are kind of... I should have put that on my list, yeah.
Congrats, you found one.
Yeah, I know. But in my mind, that was the one that I was going to use. It's like, I liked all the Mega Man games. No, I played all the Mega Man games and had some enjoyments, but I will probably never play Mega Man 7 or 8 again.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the franchises are so huge that it's impossible to not have a bad one. Like, I mean, Mario, you can't count the CDI game. That doesn't count.
Yes, you can.
Mario is missing?
It was licensed by Nintendo. You can count it completely.
Was there a bad Mario platformer? I didn't play the
Lost Levels.
That wasn't a bad game. It was just hard.
But it was hard enough that people were like, I can't finish this game.
I struggled to get through the first world. But that game is nuts.
But see, yeah, you would have to specifically say Mario platformers.
Okay. I mean, because there's Mario Time Machine, there's Mario is Missing, there's
Mario Strikers.
Yeah,
Mario.
Sports games.
Yeah. Like that's the problem is when you get to a franchise that large, you specifically have to say like what part of the franchise.
Okay. What about Far Cry? Oh,
I didn't like Blood Dragon.
You didn't like Blood Dragon?
Nope.
That does not make any sense. You were like the massive 80s fan. How did you not like
but it just didn't jive with me.
Wow.
There's just something about it I didn't like it.
There's another bad one too. I think someone mentioned it in the comments. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So you can't think of one that you liked all the games? Like and like what defines a series? Can it be just 2 games?
I would say for a series it has to be a continuity of story or
For me,
or a large cast of characters.
The closest I can come up with personally is BioShock. Like BioShock 2 to me is the one that is kind of, I liked it, but I didn't love it. It didn't capture the magic of the first one as much, but it kind of for me redeemed itself with Infinite.
Well, and see, well, this is hang on before you go into that. This is why I say like there has to be some because technically Final Fantasy, all the games are individual.
Right.
So is it really the same series?
It says Final Fantasy in the title. I would say yes.
Yeah, but none of them are connected.
And then is BioShock actually part of System Shock? You know what I mean? Like, is that...
We still don't know because they still won't release the new one.
Well, let's dive into the ones that we had that don't fit into our mold of good games in a series. We're gonna obviously dive more than just Zelda. We'll get into that for sure. But what are some of your favorite series of games, and the title or two that just didn't do it for you? I got quite a list, but I'll let you start.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
One of my favorite series of all time, Assassin's Creed.
Oh, Revelations.
Four bad entries.
4 bad entries.
Revelations.
Revelations is for sure.
Syndicate.
Yeah, Syndicate was okay.
Unity.
I like Unity had its moments.
Unity had its moments, but overall it is not a good game because there are parts of it now that are actually completely unplayable.
Plus, wasn't that the one that had like the crazy like alien looking glitches where the faces were just like eyeballs and teeth?
That and the 4-player multiplayer
that didn't
missions.
work.
Yeah, because you'd always have the one guy that's like, my ping is over 1,000. I can't help you. Oh, you failed.
Yep. Yeah.
And Chronicles.
Chronicles was the is that a 2D side scrolling? There's like a series of 3 of those. Yeah.
India, Russia, and China.
Yeah. I tried to like those.
Revelations had fun multiplayer.
I didn't play the multiplayer. I just remember getting to tower defense sections in Revelation and I was out. I was done.
I've completed every single one of the Assassin's Creed games. And I hated those 4. But
I have not completed Revelations. I have not completed Valhalla.
And missing out on Valhalla.
It's like 150 hours of game, man.
Yep.
Some of us sleep and
don't lie.
You know,
sleep is for the weak.
What else you got?
Resident Evil
6.
Before I put 6, I would put there was the 2 wow, dude, like the name was there and it's gone. It was like the side story ones.
Resident Evil Chronicles or Revelations. Yeah,
Revelations. Yeah. Stop putting Revelations in the title because Assassin's Creed Revelation, bad.
No, that was Revolution, wasn't it? In Assassin's Creed?
Wasn't Revolution, it wasn't Resolute. Words. I'm pretty sure it's Revelations.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
But keep going.
But yeah, 6 was bad.
It was Revelations. I was wrong.
Yeah, so see, Revelations. Anytime you put that in the title, instantly bad game.
Resident Evil 6 was damn near unplayable for me, dude. I like there was a section where I just kept dying and the game did not, like, I was getting hit by a train and I could not find any way to avoid. I didn't even feel like I was near the train and it would just do this animation of me getting killed. Plus, wasn't that the one that had like the logo looked like a giraffe? Look up the logo for Resident Evil 6 sometimes. It looks like a...
Yeah. But it was supposed to be like a spider web.
Yeah, but it was in the shape of a 6, and yeah.
Yeah, it looked dumb.
And plus, isn't that the one also that had like the section where you had to climb up a mountain, and if you made one wrong move, you would slide all the way back down to the bottom of the mountain?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So, who
one of the only Resident Evil games I've not finished. No. I haven't done Veronica.
Oh, dude, there's a lot you haven't finished.
Yeah.
Because you have like Mercenaries on the 3DS, Dead Aim. Yeah. There's all those. Call of Duty, Ghosts.
You didn't like Ghosts?
Didn't like Ghosts. Didn't like Infinite Warfare.
Infinite Warfare was I mean, I feel like all the campaigns are one and done for me. Like I played through them
But
once.
see, that's the thing, is the campaigns for like Modern Warfare and Black Ops were stellar.
Mm-hmm.
Just utter brilliance. And then Ghosts, Advanced Warfare, and Infinite Warfare were just hot trash.
I remember everyone giving Ghosts a really hard time, but I don't remember. Maybe that's not a good mark on the game, so I'm not defending it. I don't remember.
It was doo-doo.
Okay.
Oh, now we're gonna get a little controversial.
Oh.
Final Fantasy IX.
Oh man, you're so lucky Zach's not here.
I don't like it. I'm sorry. I don't.
Yeah.
To me, I never cared for it.
Zach tends to really appreciate games that a lot of people
I know, but you know what?
and vice versa.
That's for him. It didn't strike a chord with me.
I never got very far into it. I need to give it another shot. I started it, but I just don't have time for another RPG. And if I am going to play another RPG, I want to do those pixel remasters of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, with the XP boosts and stuff. Bold choice, sir. Any more?
I got two more. And
Okay.
I'm not done crapping on things yet.
Oh no.
Next, Gears. I hate Judgment.
I'm in the middle of Judgment right now. It's not my favorite.
I hate it. A passion.
We haven't played it in about a month just because we schedules have not lined up, but I'm looking forward to getting through that and jumping into 4 because I think Joel is going to be blown away when he sees what 4 does. So yeah. I don't think that's that controversial. I don't think Judgment is.
Halo.
You're gonna say 5, aren't you?
ODST.
You don't like ODST?
Nope.
That's. I thought that was like one of everybody's favorites in the
don't.
series.
Yeah. Told you I was going to get controversial. I don't like it.
Wow. I'm surprised by that one. Okay, my turn.
I just want to be the chief.
That's a good. I mean, that one was more about the story and what happens because you knew it was going to happen, but it was still sad, right?
Yeah.
That was the.
No, that's Reach.
Oh, is it? You're right. You're right.
I loved Reach.
Yeah.
But ODST, which is the Orbital Drop Shock Trooper one,
Mhm.
it was in the 2-pack with Forza 3.
I remember that. Yeah. For me, I'm going to start with Zelda because that was kind of the inspiration for this topic this week.
Please say
Skyward
2.
Sword. Skyward
Oh.
Sword. I still haven't ever beat that
Oh, yeah.
game because I just did not like it. I didn't like it originally. I didn't like the remaster when I thought I'd try it again and see if I could get to play. Did not. Oh, by the way, speaking of motion controls, are you playing with a Pro controller on Tears of the Kingdom? Or are you playing with a
I would love to, Scott. But
I don't
someone
understand.
has my Pro controller.
I have your Pro controller?
Remember, I had to give mine to someone else.
Oh, you're talking about the new one, the new.
'Cause
I got you.
I'm gonna play with it.
I am playing with the Joy-Cons, and I had to turn off the motion controls because every time
I love it.
it doesn't work right for me.
Oh,
But anyway,
great.
that was part of why I didn't like Skyward Sword. That first boss that you have to like tilt the controller to block everything, I just was out. That was clumsy to me, and anything outside of dungeons just felt painful. I did not like it. And also, even though we probably don't count these, although you say they do, the Zelda CDI games, we tried. Those games are awful. Also threw in there Metroid Other M. It's probably the only game in that series that I just never felt any inkling to finish. Granted, I've got a copy. I borrowed a copy rather. I plan to give it another shot and do that for a Retro Outsider because I want to see. Maybe I was just too young. I don't know. But God of War Ascension is another one on my list. Love the God of War games. Something about Ascension just did not do it for me. I felt like the magic was gone with that one. They try to shoehorn in multiplayer in that one, which doesn't make any sense in the universe of Kratos. Just did not like it. I got another one that I finished but I just didn't love was Dead Space 3. Dead Space 3 did some really interesting things in terms of its co-op that I thought was pretty cool, but they kind of turned Dead Space into a military shooter, a third-person cover-based military shooter at points, and it incorporated that like oxygen and keeping yourself warm, which is stuff I just hate in games. The glowy bits felt more egregious in that game. I didn't hate it, but it was definitely like the redheaded stepchild of the series for me, and I kind of blame that game for us not getting a Dead Space 4 and the downfall of Visceral.
Yeah.
So you with me on that one?
Yeah, I can live with it because I liked 1 and 2 a lot.
1 and 2 were just so good, just like damn near perfect games, and then 3 just felt like, okay, we're gonna do microtransactions now in the.
Again, it felt phoned in.
Yeah. And I don't know if that was Visceral's fault or if that was EA's fault, but who knows? I got one more, and I know this you don't like the whole series in general, so this one's going to fall on deaf ears, but Borderlands, the pre-sequel, is the one that I started that, and then 30 minutes in, I was like, you guys have lost what made these games so much fun. You've added mechanics that make it hard to travel around. You know, I have to have oxygen. The same thing with Dead Space 3. I just hate that. Really, really hated that. Again, maybe it's one I can convince my team to go back and play at some point when we get together, but also Diablo 4 is happening soon, so it's probably not going to happen for quite a while. So those are my list, but we've got some from our community as well.
I want to circle back to a question you asked earlier.
Yeah.
Is there a perfect franchise?
You found one.
I was sitting here thinking about it, and there's one franchise that sticks out that I enjoyed every single one of them.
Okay, what's that?
Telltale.
All of them?
Every single one.
Even Jurassic Park? Even
I
Back
loved
to the Future?
Jurassic Park one.
Even did you play all the Walking Dead and Michonne?
Every single one.
Borderlands. Game of Thrones.
I've played every. I'm actually still mad that they didn't do a second season of the Game of Thrones one.
I don't know why they didn't. I actually thought that was a pretty,
because it was a great side story.
Yeah,
the Jurassic Park one actually like gives you some backstory on some things that they left out of Jurassic Park.
The Barbasol can.
Yep. The Back to the Future one, the voice acting wasn't as good, but I still enjoyed it.
I don't know, man. That kid they got to be Marty was pretty spot on.
Yeah, overall though, the voice acting wasn't the same. But that one reminded me of the Back to the Future TV series. The
cartoon?
Series. That's, to me, that's what it felt like.
I remember that.
In that thread. Yeah. So I don't like Borderlands, and I loved the Borderlands Telltale one.
That's a good point.
The Minecraft ones I even liked.
I got through one episode of that one, and I never... Wasn't that... who was the main voice in that one? The guy from Balls of Fury. Patton Oswalt.
Yeah.
Who's the voice of the movie.
I played all of them.
Okay.
I'm still like foaming at the mouth for Wolf Among Us 2.
I bet you are. I would have to replay that. Holy cow. That's been...
So
it's got to be close to a decade since that game came out, isn't it?
That was early 360, son.
Yeah.
So that is my vote for if there was ever something that was close to a perfect series.
Yeah, but I don't know. Where you draw the line on series. Is that a series or is that a series of games by a developer?
I put it as a series of stories. If we're going to count Final Fantasy because of the name.
That's a good point.
So, yes.
It's almost like Telltale is a genre. Final Fantasy is a genre. Yeah, I get you. All right, well, let's go and listen to the community. It's starting over on Facebook. You want to kick things off?
Ooh, let's get controversial straight out the gate for Mr. Scott Clark here. Jordan Derringer, Breath of the Wild. It was so far out of left field for anything Zelda related, and not in a good way. Between canning the traditional dungeons to introducing weapon degradation, they took everything that made Zelda a fun experience for me personally out of the game and made it just another copy and paste open world game. And I know I'm very much in the minority here. People love the game. that's great for everyone that did, but in my opinion, why try to fix something that wasn't broken? So all that can be said, it should just come as a shock that I will be skipping out on Tears of the Kingdom, and I'll keep playing Mimish Cap on the Switch.
You know, I'm honestly not mad at this. I kind of understand.
I understand, but Jordan, I will openly tell you, the dungeons may or may not be back.
I mean, that sounds like may or may not.
I don't know for sure yet, because
Oh, okay.
there's have you come across any of the holes in the ground?
The chasms.
Yeah.
I keep hearing about them, but I have not seen them.
I've seen 3 or 4 of them,
Okay.
and they look awfully like the entrance to a dungeon.
Okay. All right. No, but like, I know. I feel like he was worried I was going to be upset or something with this one. I'm more upset that Jordan thinks that Link to the Past is not a good game. He made that bold statement on Facebook a couple weeks ago. That one hurt me to my core. No, but I understand Breath of the Wild. It is an open world. I think it's a little harsh to say it's just a copy and paste open world game, because I think they did some very clever stuff. And I would caution to discount Tears of the Kingdom, because I think they righted a lot of wrongs with that in Breath of the Wild.
Like I said earlier, I felt that Breath of the Wild was missing some things, and I feel that Tears of the Kingdom actually filled the voids.
Yeah. With that said, Minish Cap is a deeply underrated Zelda game. That game is really, really great. So, good call there.
I'm actually curious to get your point. You say that Breath of the Wild brought some interesting things to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Explain.
Well, I mean, just the way they did puzzles. Like I know everybody complains about the lack of dungeons in the shrines, but some of those shrines were dang clever. Like they're just the one that was like a labyrinth that you tilted the controls to, like, you know, navigate a ball through, and then if you figured out you could just flip it upside down and bypass it altogether was cool.
At that point in time, you're basically just saying that they added mini games.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily something new.
I mean, just remember when they first started marketing Breath of the Wild, and it was like, you see that thing in the distance? You can go there. That was a big deal back then, man. That was a big deal.
Except it existed in other. See, I actually, the reason why I said explain.
That was a big deal for a Nintendo game. Let me.
I understand that you say that, but at the same time, I understand where Jordan's coming from.
So do I. Totally.
Because it definitely feels that they took the best bits of a lot of games and merged them together into one, forming for something new for Nintendo, but something that existed everywhere else.
Tears of the Kingdom, they've done some things to make it stand on its own.
Kind of like how Apple likes to say their iPhone is the greatest thing ever, but Android tends to have already been there.
I am not getting into a Apple versus Android argument with you again. Moving on. I'm going to read the next two because this first one's short. Darren Allen says, for me, it's Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
That makes me sad.
I can't say I'm with or against Darren on this one because I haven't finished it, but I definitely did not get very far. I think Valhalla is the first one where I'm like, these games are too damn big.
I will say Valhalla is not my number one, so I can understand, but for me, it's nowhere near the worst one in the series.
Yeah, I mean, I think Revelation.
Chronicles.
I almost said Chronicles.
Dude,
separate,
Chronicles
though.
is so bad.
I just could not wrap my head around how to get that game to work. It just didn't feel like it. Here's the one we were referencing earlier. Sean Coates says, Far Cry New Dawn and Wolfenstein Youngblood. At least they're both spin-offs, so they don't taint the reputations entirely of their respective franchises in my mind. New Dawn had lackluster villains and unnecessary RPG mechanics that clashes with everything one would associate with that series. And let's not forget its mere existence is a spoiler to Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
I did not like New Dawn either. I forgot that Sean made this comment earlier when I mentioned Far Cry, but yeah, that one definitely. Again, it's a spinoff. Does it count? It kind of has to count. I have similar grievances with Youngblood. The AI controlling the other sister in single-player mode is spotty and dumb. And also, I hated the mechanic of having various enemies requiring different ammo types to take down effectively. Shooting an enemy with the wrong ammo type basically turns them into a bullet sponge. You'd think Youngblood would be awesome. It's Wolfenstein in the 80s. Seems hard to screw up, yet they found a way.
I completely agree with Sean because I feel that Youngblood is the reason we haven't had a new Wolfenstein.
I agree.
Because
I remember I didn't even play
turd.
it because you played it and said it is just not very fun, and I didn't even bother.
I remember when I finished that game, I called you immediately. I'm like, don't do it.
Yep. All right, you're up.
All right, folks, strap in. It's a long one. Brandon Smith writes in, I can answer that. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. Don't worry, I'm going to stoke the flames of the endless debate around which of the more popular entries in the series is better.
He said he's not going to stoke the flames.
Not. Yep. I can't read today, so apparently. So I'm not going to stoke the flames of the endless debate around which of the more popular entries in the series is better, or if one of them is trash. I actually don't think there's a single bad game in the main series. I love them all for different reasons. Thank God you said main series. However, there is one Final Fantasy game that I vowed I would never... I vowed never to play again because I disliked it so much, and that was Final Fantasy Legend 2 on the original Game Boy. You thought weapons breaking in Breath of the Wild was annoying? Well, let me tell you about a game where by the final dungeon, literally the only weapons capable of defeating any of the random enemies, let alone the final boss, were the rarest, most limited in supply weapons in the entire game. And if you ran out halfway through that dungeon, good luck ever finishing it. Thank the gods that the game allowed you to save your progress anytime you wanted, because I kid you not when I say I saved after every single step that I took in the last dungeon, just so I could reset the game every time I got into a random battle in order to avoid wasting any of my precious weapons. Not a fun experience.
That sounds awful. I never played 2. I played the original Final Fantasy Legends. I remember it didn't feel like Final Fantasy, but it was still pretty fun. And thanks for the warning. I will definitely avoid the second one from this point on.
I'm so glad that that he made the
distinction
between the main numbered games and the side stuff, because things like Dirge of Cerberus
or Crystal Chronicles, I did not like that game. I didn't play that one, but Next comment comes from Paul LePage, who says Fable 3 for me. Love the first 2 Fables and the first half of 3. Did not enjoy the second half of Fable 3. Once you become king and have to accumulate 6.5 million gold by buying property and grinding rent and shop income to get the good ending and save everyone. Oh, and Fable the Journey doesn't exist, so shut up.
Oh, no, it completely exists. It's still terrible. But 3 is still bad.
Yeah, Fable 3 I never touched because everyone just talked so negatively about it, and I loved 2 so much. 2 is the first game I ever got all 1,000 achievement points for, by the way. So I've got a special place in my heart for that one.
I'm still mad that the new Fable hasn't come out.
It's coming.
When? Because I haven't even heard about it the last couple E3s.
I mean, we got about a month away before that season rolls around. It'll be an interesting June.
Man, everybody better bring some fire because I'm mad at all 3 companies right now. So,
all right, you're up on Discord.
Discord, Paul Hine with the ever infamous Mass Effect Andromeda. For the Mass Effect franchise, just saying it feels like low-hanging fruit. To be fair, Mass Effect Andromeda was a ton of fun with mods on PC. It was very pretty to look at, and some of the gameplay was interesting, but doesn't fix the lackluster writing. I'm sorry, but after from what everybody told me, because I don't care to play Mass Effect, I found it incredibly boring. But talking with everybody that's played all this stuff, it sounds like halfway through Mass Effect 3, the writers just stopped writing.
I can't speak to it, but I heard a lot of negative things about Andromeda, but I also heard a lot of positives as well. Remember, Chad Cusick really liked it quite a bit, and some other people had some fun with it, but the general consensus is that it just did not live up to what the other games did. Rusty over on Discord says, I feel like I'm always saying something Banjo-Kazooie related, but nuts and bolts, completely botched third entry of a beloved franchise that killed it. Which I wonder if Tears of the Kingdom would exist without nuts and bolts. Just saying. Isn't that the game where like you kind of piece stuff together and made vehicles?
Yeah, but they've done that in other games too.
Have they? Okay.
So, Thomas Bex writes in, Gabriel Knight 3 made the jump from 2D to 3D, and it wasn't good. Apparently, the story was still brilliant, but I never experienced it because that awful early 3D made me never play the game longer than 30 minutes. The same going for Monkey Island 4. Early 3D was just so bad, it was completely overshadowed any good parts of those games.
Yeah.
Man. Now, I just immediately had a throwback to him. Like, I remember a bad Mario game.
What's that?
The Mario game on Virtual Boy.
The Mario game on Virtual Boy. The Wario game?
The Wario game, yeah. Because the tennis game was functional, at least.
I thought the Wario game was universally loved on Virtual Boy.
One of the
The one where it was... No, not Mario Tennis. The Wario platformer. Like, that was like the only good game on that platform from what I've heard. Well, the only good game that people could actually play.
Vertical Force was pretty good.
Okay, I just because the Wario game was like where you could be playing in the background or the foreground.
Oh,
and that was supposed to be.
I just thought of another one. Because of Virtual Boy, 3D Tetris.
Oh,
because that is the only Tetris game that I've played that is actually unplayable.
Yeah, because like, how do you even see depth without different colored blocks? Because they were all
the same.
Yeah.
But because it twisted and rotated, and you had to like piece it together in a vertical stack.
Yeah. All right, our last comment comes from Kevin Honingford, who says, I'm going to forego speaking of 06 because that is the lowest hanging fruit ever lowest hanging fruit ever bore by any tree. Besides, the game was actually really fun when it worked, but my answer is Sonic 3D Blast. Originally, I thought I hated it just because it was different, but even years later, I still couldn't bring myself to struggle through the first few levels. The gameplay just felt wrong. The isometric 3D world just didn't work for me, but others loved it. So yeah, even Sonic has a turd every once in a while. So, well, thank you everybody for all the comments. That was a lot of fun. CB, thanks for joining me in on it.
Yeah,
we were able to turn that into a good discussion. Next week's topic is still to be determined. You got any ideas, man?
No, not yet. But I do kind of want to turn this into a bracket style.
Bracket style, like a March Madness.
But like, okay, or just put all the like the big franchises that have to have like 10 plus, and just fight it out to like which one is the most universally hated between all of them.
Oh, so not like a best franchise, but what is the most hated franchise?
No, because I think Kevin is right. Sonic 06 would probably win out.
Oh, you don't mean an entire franchise, but what game from a franchise is most universally hated?
Yeah, like, so it's like, okay, Sonic and Mario.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thank you so much for listening. The episode was produced by Kevin Honigford, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website, once again, is stemagemusic.com, STEMAGE music.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. CB, any parting words or recommendations before you go pass out?
Two real quick. I am still chugging through the new Jedi Order series of books.
Okay.
And I forgot how good they were. So I'm about halfway through the set. Man, I really want Disney to wake up and like fold this back in because it's so good.
Yeah. Right.
Two, for those of us who TikTok a lot, follow the Savannah Bananas.
Savannah Bananas? What is that?
They're the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
Oh, I am intrigued.
Dude, it is some of the funniest stuff I've seen. I actually just, before we started recording today, I signed up. They are doing a nationwide tour this year, and they will be stopping in Milwaukee, and I want to go,
dude,
so bad.
I want to go too. I haven't even seen it yet, but that sounds incredible. Like
it's so funny.
I'm trying to understand how you would do that with baseball, because with basketball, at least the ball is contained in a small court. But if you have to hit the ball and do antics, I'm really curious how you do that.
Just pull up their TikTok account and just watch. It's gold.
Savannah, I'm going to follow that as soon as we get done here. That sounds intriguing. I've got an older movie recommendation, which I know is a weird thing to do, but hey, Zach did it with Django Unchained. I watched a movie this week that I haven't seen since it originally released, my freshman year of college, and that is Identity. Which
oh god, the motel movie?
Yeah, dude, I like that movie, and I feel like it was it's a controversial thing to recommend it because a lot of people had issues with it, but I remember
ending for that movie was so far out of left field that a lot of people were like,
I don't know if it was.
The first time seeing it, you don't necessarily see it coming.
I thought it was kind of clever, and the little hints they gave
I'm not saying it's not, because I love that movie. That's why I was like, you're talking the motel movie, right?
Yeah. And like the cast is really good too. I feel like I saw this movie so long ago that I'm rewatching it now going, I did not remember that, Dr. Cox from Scrubs is in this. I did not remember that Amanda Peet was in this. There's just all these actors that like, I feel like are a much bigger deal in my mind now. And going back, I saw this movie, but I only saw it the one time in theater. So I went back and rewatched it, and I think it's a really cool movie. Oh, Jake Busey is in it. I didn't remember Jake Busey was in it.
Oh yeah.
That's
the lesser known of the Buseys.
He's still pretty creepy though. Anyway, I'd recommend it's on Hulu. So if you want to go back and see a 20-year-old movie that I think still holds up, but I'm also a John Cusack fan personally, so check it out. Well, thanks, CB. It was a pleasure chatting with you as always. Hopefully next week we can get at least 3 or 4 of us back, but looking forward to getting into Tears of the Kingdom some more. I'm sure we'll be talking about that for the next few weeks and just kind of comparing notes. But until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.